welcome to my channel. This is Lesson Cappuccino of Sashes&Scripts, and this evening we will be talking about the Miss Supranational franchise here in the Philippines, and did it destroy its own brand here in the Philippines, in the country? Because medyo hindi nakakaganda ng image yung nangyaring pageant franchise hopping that they did in the last several years. I don't think that it had helped their pageant in terms of reputation and in terms of optics. Hindi nakaganda yung mga palipat-lipat nila ng pageant, and the reasons for um, moving from one national organization to another seems to be very sketchy. So pag-uusapan natin yan. We will be talking as well about the Miss Supranational franchise here in the Philippines, as well as the organizations na naghawak, because Binibining Pilipinas is actually the second organization who held the franchise here in the Philippines, and hindi sila yung una. So we will be talking about all of that in the next hour or so. So I hope na everyone who's here, please leave a like on our live stream para mas marami yung nagla-like, mas marami yung nakakakita ng live stream, mas marami tayo dito sa mas marami tayong makakausap dito sa live stream na ito. Okay? So, nasaan na ba tayo? Hello everyone. May mga nagko-comment na. John Lorenzo says, waiting and first time here, Sir Jason, watching from Turkey. Hello John. Welcome to the channel. I hope na you're enjoying our live stream. If it's your first time here, so I hope na ma-enjoy mo yung experience mo with us this evening. And then we have Rodvin Fiel. Hello, Rodvin. Welcome. Michelle Ree is also here. TGIF guys. Hello, sir. Thank you for for joining. Ayan. Sandali lang ha. Let's see, may mga additional pang mga comments na paparating. So, anyway, habang hinihintay natin yung mga kasamahan natin na mag-leave ng comments, magpakita ng kanilang presensya dito, let's first talk of ano ba talaga yung problema ng supranational, kung bakit hindi sila maka-establish ng pangalan and maka-establish ng foothold dito sa Pilipinas. And in that conversation, we need to first look at their history here in the Philippines. Kung saan sila nagmula, ano yung mga pinagdaanan natin with the franchise, as well as the things that we need to understand in terms of their background, because hindi ganon ka-glossy yung behind the scenes na nangyayari based on rumors, insider information, mga hindi naging magandang mga contributory insider stories that does not help the supranational na franchise and its image here in the Philippines. So, the supranational competition actually started in 2009. But between the years 2009 and 2010, hindi tayo nagpadala ng representative sa pageant na yan, because we don't have a local franchise holder by that time. The first one na we sent to the Miss Supranational na competition is actually Lawrence Grace Remetilio. And she competed, I believe, in 2011 before the Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated acquired the franchise in around 2012. During that time, si Elaine Moll, who was essentially the first runner-up in that edition, was elevated and given the title of Miss Supranational Philippines. And during that time, yung kanyang sash was not yet Binibining Pilipinas Supranational. So, it was only, I think, around the time of Mutiada Tul in 2013 that the title was changed into Binibining Pilipinas Supranational. And then, from then on, Binibining Pilipinas crowns Filipino representatives to the Miss Supranational pageant from the years 2012 until yung last na pinadala ng Binibining Pilipinas at 2019, which is Said. The thing about that entire history is that may mga hindi naging magandang nangyari sa Miss Supranational na pageant wherein at around 2013 2014 na era, there was a split, a breakaway group from within the Miss Supranational organization na nagtatag ng sariling nag-separate na Miss Supranational organization that was based, I believe, in India. And the two owners essentially fought over who has the copyright, who has the franchise the international franchise to actually produce and own essentially the pageant. On one hand, I'm not gonna name names because mahirap i-verify yung truth behind what happened between those two owners. On one hand, one owner has accused another owner that ninakaw sa kanya yung ownership ng Miss Supranational na copyright, and then the other one was also saying na yung isang may-ari was nagdidispalko ng pera, kaya siya pinatalsik sa organization. So there was a back and forth on social media, I believe, Facebook pa noon ng uso, on the quarrel between who actually owns the Miss Supranational na organization. And then yung current na owner traveled here in the Philippines, nakipag-sit down kay Madam Stella and forged ties with Binibining Pilipinas para hindi magkaroon ng loyalty ang Binibining Pilipinas doon sa breakaway group na tinatag sa India. And this is where I believe that the supranational pageant actually owes, their loyalty, supposed to be, to the Binibining Pilipinas pageant. This is actually the part where I believe Binibining Pilipinas gave a show of confidence to the current organization. And I think the mere fact na pinakita ng Binibining Pilipinas yon, and showed grace in supporting this pageant, and it was not reciprocated back by the current owners, which later on hopped and was peddling the Miss Supranational franchise to other national organizations, shows na may pagka-ingrata yung current na organization. That the Miss Supranational owners has no concept of giving back the kind of loyalty that the Binibining Pilipinas organization invested on the pageant. So I think that is the first time that we've seen that there is a problem within the Miss Supranational organization in terms of recognizing the partners that have helped grow their pageant. Because I don't believe that had it not been for Binibining Pilipinas, this pageant would explode the way it is. Because at that time, they were essentially a nobody in terms of, in terms of publicity, in terms of importance. Had it not been aligned with Binibining Pilipinas, then pageant organizations like Missology, who has supported the Miss Supranational organization with with full arms extended, would not have the same kind of popularity that that's enjoying now had it not been for the association with Binibining Pilipinas. And among all pageant portals, I believe it was Missology who was first to peddle the idea of having a alpha or a big five pageant where everyone is comfortable with the idea of the Alpha Four, which is the Miss Universe, the Miss Earth, Miss International, and the Miss World pageants. And I believe that the supranational organization, at certain degrees, owes their popularity to the Filipino fan base. And this was established essentially through Binibining Pilipinas organization. So I think don't klaro tayo. Klaro tayo sa history ng pageant na to because it allows us to understand yung paano sila naging popular dito sa Pilipinas and how the supranational brand expanded from a unknown na international pageant in Poland to the more popular pageant that it is now. It is now. Now, before we continue with this conversation, let's just say some highs and hellos dun sa mga dun sa mga bagong dating nating mga friends na nagko-comment ngayon sa ating live stream. Rain is here. Sabi niya, ang Supra mas bagay talaga sa Binibining Pilipinas. Multidocs 1 says, hi Sir Jason from Mississippi, USA. Hello there. I think magandang umaga or magandang madaling araw ang bati sa inyo dyan sa Mississippi, USA. I'm not sure if it's somewhere in the middle between the East and West Coasts. Kung it's more of malapit siya sa East Coast or sa West Coast. But hello there. Michelle Ree is here. Edu S, ES, sabi niya, hi sir, looks like they are okay. Hi sir, looks like they are more prepared for Mr. Supras than the Miss version. LOL. And I'm happy about that. More promo for Mr. Pageants. Pancho Polo is here. Si Pancho Polo is one of our masugid na mga nagko-comment on our Instagram. Sabi niya, magandang gabi, o magandang umaga, magandang tanghali to everyone, wherever you are. Rodin Fiel is here and sabi niya, I agree sir na ang Miss Supranational org mismo ang problematic. I think Sierra Burchell of Canada shared her experience and the lackluster experience niya during the 2015 edition. Though glossy lagi ang finals nila. That's the thing about the Miss Supranational pageant. They're very glossy. They've been known early on in their history as a pageant na rampa-rampa lang. There's no real advocacy. There's no real pageant ethos that they promote. They don't have a final Q&A during the time that we won with Mutia, and when essentially Elaine Mo was like third runner-up in 2012. So this is more of a modeling competition by then. However, when I believe Missology started to partner with the pageant, unti-unti nilang binago yung the way that they run the pageant, because they needed to have something to ground it to the relevance that the four other major international pageants have. You have HIV/AIDS, women empowerment, Smile Train for the Miss Universe organization. You have Beauty with a Purpose with Miss World. Miss Earth naman, you have Beauty with a Cause, that is championing awareness for environmental issues, as well as protecting Mother Earth and its resources. And then the Miss International na pageant, which is very grounded on tradition, grounded on Japanese traditions and culture. So these pageant, they stand for something. And even Miss International nowadays, if you look at their pageant, they're also partnering with the United Nations in terms of their sustainable development goals. So everybody is is standing for something, and this is something that the Miss Supranational lack, and that is one of the first downfall that the pageant has when it comes to its Filipino audiences. The Filipino pageant fans is actually a more, how would I say, discerning pageant fan as compared to our neighbors, because we require more from our candidates, from our national title holders, as well as the pageants that they participate in. And this is the reason why I think Filipino fans are much more easier to convince when it comes to the relevance of a pageant if these pageants have something that grounds them on relevancy with social causes. I think that is first and foremost one of the reasons why um, hindi mai-elevate ng Miss Supranational yung kanilang sarili to the same level as the Alpha 4 na mga pageants, because they don't really stand for something. And even if they started, having an advocacy that they published, several years back, a couple of years back, I think that was in 2021 or 2020, hindi ito nasundan ng mas meaty na pageant activities. And I think that's the reason why it's so difficult for Miss Supranational to really latch on when it comes to the Filipino audiences. Another thing that I've noticed with the pageant itself and the organization, the people behind the organization itself, is that there hasn't been really nice na mga insider stories and rumors, insider rumors with regards to the pamunuan ng pageant. Kasi back in around 2019, and 2018, 2019 essentially, this was the time where nanalo ng Miss Universe si Catriona, and we've started hearing rumors na ang pamunuan ng Supra gusto na magkaroon ng special treatment sa kanila. At that time, iniisip siguro nila na medyo lumalaban na kami in terms of prestige with other international pageants. So, unti-unti nilang pinoposisyon na gusto nila yung treatment sa kanila kapag pumupunta dito sa Pilipinas, naka-presidential suite sila, meron silang sariling chauffeur na hatid sundo sa lahat ng mga activities nila, care of the local organization, and a host of other other demands, to the point that we've also heard rumors that they wanted na secondary title ang Supra nung umalis na yung nung panahon pa na nasa kanila pa yung Miss Universe Philippines na franchise. Dinig ko from people around the organization, and even yung mga camps na nakakasalamuha ko, may mga naririnig din na mga kwento na hindi ganun kaganda tungkol sa organisasyon. Isa sa mga narinig ko is gusto nilang maging secondary title noong 2019, kung saan parang gusto nilang maetsepwera, pumangatlo lang sa rangko ang Miss International. And knowing Binibining Pilipinas, who has their chairperson, si Madam Stella Marquez Araneta, as a former Miss International, as well as the very long-standing na relationship ng Binibining Pilipinas organization with the Miss International org, hindi nila gagawin yon because of loyalty. We have to understand that The Binibining Pilipinas organization is run by people of bygone era where your palabra de honor is is equivalent to your reputation, where your words are worth your weight in gold, essentially. And once na they have an agreement, kahit na verbal na agreement yon, they stand for it. Ganun na lang kaimportante yung konsepto ng palabra de honor for this generation of people who grew with these organizations, especially noong infancy pa lang ng pageants all over the world. The Miss International organization was established in 1960, and the Binibining Pilipinas organization was established in 1964. So you have to look at that kind of long-standing relationship that in the 1960s hindi pa tayo pinapanganak, hindi pa pinapanganak yung mga magulang ng iba sa atin. Meron na silang partnership. I believe that the Miss International organization was acquired, the Miss International franchise was acquired by Binibining Pilipinas at around 1967 or 1968-69. So just look at the long-standing relationship that di pwede nilang ilaglag yung mga tawag ito, yung partnership ng Miss International just because you have a glossy pageant here who is claiming to be one of the world's best. That's that's a difficult conversation to have na gusto mong ikaw yung secondary title to the Miss Universe na pageant, wherein you haven't even actually earned your stripes in terms of the value that you put into the pageant community. I think that's one of the secondary reasons, or that's the second reason why unti-unting nagkaroon ng turn off ang mga pageant fans with the Miss Supranational organization. Then nasundan pa ito lalo when throughout the years from the year 2014 to up until now, the Philippines have never broken from the top 5 placement, or rather top 10, top 20 na placement since Yvette Santiago in 2014. Na nunca na tayong pinapasok sa top 5 despite sending really gorgeous women, accomplished women, well-spoken women. And this is something that napansin din ng mga pageant fans. This is something that Filipino pageant fans have noticed. And this is something that shouldn't be surprising, because when pageant fans started to compare the placements that the Philippines have versus that of Indonesia, that of Thailand, suddenly we become second tier fans in terms of importance to the pageant. And this is the third reason, third problematic reason why Miss Supranational is no longer or it doesn't enjoy the same brand equity here in the Philippines as compared to the rest of the world. Naumay na tayo doon sa you're always treating us secondary, despite the fact that it is actually the Filipino pageant fans that built the image, that built the prestige of your brand. And the mere fact that you're treating our candidates as secondary to other countries just because hindi nyo nakukuha yung gusto nyong makuha sa amin, we're suddenly having a crisis of, teka lang, parang ginagamit nyo lang naman kami. You're just using us for the clout. You're just using us for the prestige that we bring to your pageant. And this is where um, nagkaroon na ng total breakdown yung relationship ng Filipino pageant fandom with the Miss Supranational organization. Because there are other pageants who's treating us right. We're not saying na kinakailangan taon-taon nananalo kami. But treat us right. Treat us equal. Be fair to us. Kasi hindi naman magka-clamor ang mga pageant fans na ibigay niyo sa amin ang corona on a regular basis if we're not sending quality girls. And from Binibining Pilipinas, just imagine you have Yvette Santiago, you have Rogelie Katakutan, you have strong girls like Resham, you have very tawag nito, very gorgeous girls like Huelar na nag-compete sa pageant ninyo, and yet still it it kind of it kind of it, it, it kind of feels like no matter who we send to you, you will always treat us secondary to the Indonesians, to the Indians, to the Thais. And this is even further cemented when we've started sending you girls from Miss World Philippines, because when Bindi Pajares, who is actually one of the most prepared, one of the most excellent girls that we've sent to Miss Supranational in the past, I don't know, 5 years, parang hanggang dyan lang ang inabot niya, considering that in terms of technical skills, in terms of presentation skills, she is at par with most of the girls na ipinasok niyo sa top 5. So that kinds of gave us like a pause, a moment where we kind of felt like, okay, you're not treating us right. And this is the last straw na tatanggapin namin yung abuso ninyo. And I think that is the reason why the Miss Supranational pageant is not enjoying the kind of prestige that we attributed to it before, because we know that no matter what we do, or no matter how strong the girl that we send, you're not giving us the kind of recognition that that our girls deserve. And I think yung injustice na yon, na naulit for several years, is really something that the Filipino pageant fans haven't moved on from. And this is mostly exacerbated during the experience ni Jeza Huelar, wherein Jeza, despite being only 5'7", is a very well-proportioned girl. She has very strong stage presence. She is one of the girls na kapag tignan mo from head to toe, she's always impeccably styled and dressed. And she was really delivering during her competition, during the time of her competition. Tapos nagkaroon ng sabotaging ng kanyang evening gown, nagkaroon ng unheard na mga or rather nagkaroon ng mga insider na mga kwento na hindi siya how to say this, hindi siya binigyan ng equal treatment by the organization with regards to the way that they handle yung mga pananabotahe sa kanya. So I think it was really a very terrible overall experience, not just ng mga nag-compete sa pageant, but ng fandom, Filipino fandom with this pageant as a whole. And I think the reason why the Filipino fans hindi mataas yung amor sa pageant na ito is because of that. Tinrato tayong secondary, tinrato tayong hindi importante. When you start treating Filipino fans as unimportant, then we will reciprocate tenfold. And this is the reason why there were rumors that when ALV Pageant Circle was uh, posting on applications, there was actually a rumor that less than 10 girls actually applied from the time that they posted yung announcement at around December or January to the time that they pulled out the announcement at around February of this year. Again, this is rumors, and I cannot verify the number of candidate applications. But if um, if 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 ilang beses nang na-postpone, if the application deadlines has been postponed twice or thrice, then it adds a iota of truth na baka walang nag-a-apply. Baka wala namang may gusto. So it only shows that in terms of the brand's premium, in terms of the Miss Supranational image, brand image and equity, the power of the Miss Supranational brand is quite low here in the Philippines. And we cannot blame the Filipino pageant fans because of that, because we've been treated as an unimportant element of the pageant community for the supranational na pageant. And honestly, the thing that really cemented all of these, yung pagka walang gana ng Filipino fans with the Miss Supranational pageant, is when the supranational owners started pageant hopping, when they are leapfrogging from one organization to another while still have an existing relationship with with their current na mga partners, local partners here in the Philippines. So imagine, habang nagpa-pageant ang Binibining Pilipinas, they are already, looking at a possible partnership with Empire, with ALV Pageant Circle, and then when everything was, is still, kind of messy with the Miss Universe organization leaving the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, biglang lumayas ang supranational. And then, after that, it only took them 2 years with ALV Pageant Circle before they left. And they left in such a very nasty na way, with really terrible rumors with regards to their exit. It only goes to show that this pageant itself, the owners of the pageant, are actually very problematic. And if I am a pageant, I will always be looking behind my back, because I am not sure if this pageant, if I acquire it, this pageant this year, next year they might fly away to greener pastures. And in the way that they kept on pageant hopping, their image is damaged because of that, because lumalabas na wala silang loyalty. They have no concept of loyalty, partnership, building the brand with their local partners. And they think that just because they have this, fan base in Indonesia, in India, in other parts of the world, suddenly their pageant is already at par with the 4 biggest international pageants that is in existence. Wala pa silang naiipupundar in terms of their relevance, advocacy, and all, for them to really have that kind of say na, aba, meron na kaming maipagmamalaki. And I think that is the one thing that they've overestimated about themselves, is that in terms of yung advocacy and relevance in terms of visibility of their winners throughout the year, halos wala pa sila nun. And for Miss Earth, for example, being the youngest among the four biggest international competitions, tinrabaho nila with their advocacy so that even if they're not very social media, they're not very present on social media, nakikitang relevance on the activities of the Miss Earth winners. You see them, participating in United Nations sa mga conventions, seminars, and tree planting, and even yung mga runners-up nila, yung mga elemental queens nila, you see them being visible with, with, uh, for example, Nadine Ayub, being very present with the Palestinian community. You have Sheridan Mortlock, who is very much grounded with her advocacy in Australia for the promotion and how do you say this? Not just promotion, but also with cleanup drives, with very Miss Earth related na mga activities. But you don't see that necessarily being done with the reign of Lalela. I don't see Lalelas being active on social causes as promoted by Miss Supranational, because even at this point, nobody really knows kung what is the social cause or what is the social advocacy that the pageant advocates for. And that is on the pageant in itself. So there are a lot of problem areas for the Miss Supranational pageant when it comes to its relationship with the Filipino pageant community. But essentially, the root of all these problems is that we don't see loyalty. We don't see this pageant settling down and developing roots with the local community. They don't reach out to the Filipino pageant fans and establish a relationship with the Filipino pageant fans, and yung okay, sorry, mukhang biglang nawala yung live stream. Anyway, the fact that hindi sila marunong tumanaw ng utang na loob doon sa mga pageants that national pageants that help build their image is something that is problematic for Filipino fans. Kasi sa ating mga Pilipino, malaki yung respeto at kultura natin sa utang na loob. And ito yung hindi natin nakikita sa pageant na ito. Okay, so let's read some comments before we continue. Kasi medyo nakakarami na ako ng sinabi and dumadami na yung mga comments natin here. Okay, Marcos Gutierrez says, "Good evening, nakaabot sa live." Hello, Marcos. I hope na you came in at around the 10-minute mark kasi medyo marami na yung nabanggit ko from the time that we start, because I started quite early with the topic, and then diretso na ako nagsalita. Hello, the universe. Supra evening to everyone. Supra winner joining MU. Them okay to be in third tier national pageant, show their real deal. OTH, a month before BBB finals, host or performers, wala pa din. Ano kaya marketing strat nila this year? I don't know kung ano yung mangyayari sa Miss Supranational na pageant in itself, because from what I've heard is that after the Miss Universe Philippines is crowned, a week or two, so medyo tatapat siya doon sa oras ng Binibining Pilipinas na maglalabas sila ng announcement kung sino yung ipapadala for Supranational. Pancho Polo says, SMA wasn't just Miss International, she was the first to wear the crown. Such is her prestige. The respect given to her is unmatched by any other national director anywhere in the world. Agree. And this is also the reason why na biglang nagkaroon ng commotion noong dumating bigla si SMA during the Binibining Pilipinas Glam Shot exhibit opening at the Gateway Mall. Kasi lahat ng mga tao who were there were kind of surprised and pleasantly surprised na yung yung mismong event biglang dinumog na siya ng mga ng mga ng mga candidates, ng mga fans, ng mga media na kahit saang sulok mo tignan, pinipicturean siya ng mga tao. So, I think it's more of a reverence to what she has established, what she has built for the Binibining Pilipinas na legacy. That is why kakaiba yung respeto ng mga tao sa kanya. Hello, the universe. The universe, sabi niya, Jeza is one injustice. Correct. I agree kasi the mere fact na hindi na kinalaman kung sino yung perpetrators dun sa nangyari dun sa gown niya, and the mere fact na walang nakapansin backstage kung sino yung nanabotahe. It only goes to show na hindi that the Miss Supranational pageant is leagues away from the Miss Universe pageant in terms of the way that they manage the finals, the way that they manage the competition itself. Because in Miss Universe, any of these untowardly na mga incidences is investigated. And kapag na patunayan kung sino yung sino yung perpetrator, they are asked quietly na ang chichi is they will allow you to compete pero asahan mong wala ka ng chances na manalo. Ganun yung nadidinig ko na malaking point sa kanila na kapag i-behave untowardly, kahit na mataas ang scores mo, tatanggalin kanila doon sa roster na makakapasok sa semis. Kaya nga matandaan nyo nung nangyari yung Miss Universe dito sa Pilipinas. Rumor has it na mula candidates, co-candidates, mula accessories ng mga designers at mga makeup artist and stylist nagreklamo sa certain strong candidate, and that's the reason why na-El Tukuyo siya. So, clue na yun sa kung sino yung taong yun. Oriental Josa Sahara, so hi Jason from Buenos Aires. Ola from the Philippines. I'm sure you're enjoying, Argentina. So, love the culture there, especially yung culture nila with tango. Okay, balik tayo kay Hello the Universe. I always see Supra as almost same level ni Globe. Production-wise, gloss and activities, humahabol at nakakahabol din ang Globe. I think it has something to do with the fact that they're both European pageants. So in terms of yung gloss ng production nila, halos hindi nagkakaiba. Although I would give Supranational a little bit of an edge in terms of yung pagka-HD ng camera, yung stage design. However, yung both Globe and Supra actually are very laden with unnecessary na mga musical numbers, in my opinion. So don't crucify me for that. But I think there's a lot of areas that needs to be polished pa in terms of the way that the pageant is held or the pageant is produced. Line spread. If Supranational stayed with Binibining Pilipinas until now, they should have been the second highest crown. Now, second to Binibining Pilipinas International. Sadly, they are very greedy to climb to top spot. The problem with that is that hindi sila with old world na mga corporations established in the 1960s, and nandun pa din yung mga founders nila. you really need to have like a long-term relationship with them so that you're able to, to prove to them yung loyalty. And I think that's one of the things that the supranational forgot because wala pa silang ano eh, they haven't even reached 10 years with Binibining Pilipinas because they only started the pageant franchise with BBP at around 2012. Isipin mo, umalis sila ng 2019. I mean, they're like 2 years short before maka-full 10 years sila. And I think that's something that they really have to ponder and think about. Where did they went wrong in that relationship? Because during the times that they needed Binibining Pilipinas so that Binibining Pilipinas would not side with the India-based na Miss Supranational na pageant that was established at around 2014 na naglaho na ngayon because I haven't heard of about it any time in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Sana they took in yung graciousness ng BPCI that they maintain their relationship with them and then sinuklian nila yon with long-term loyalty. And not just that, but long-term loyalty to the Filipino fans as well because tignan nyo yung what do you call this, yung track record ng Pilipinas versus the track record of Indonesia. Although kumorona tayo in 2013 and we did a top 5 placement in 2012 courtesy of Elaine Mall. After that, nakakita na ba kayo ng top 5, another top 5 placement natin? Nakakita na ba tayo ng runner-up placement after Mutya? I feel that all of those things, supranational, provided more to our Asian neighbors. Like India, for example, nakadalawang corona na ang India. Thailand as well, and Indonesia has been like consistent in their Mr. and Miss Supra na competitions. So I'm not saying that we deserve, we demand to be always on the top 5, but what I'm asking is that treat us fairly and treat us with the same importance that you want from that you got from us, because had it not been for the Filipino fandom, I don't think na mararating nila kung nasaan sila ngayon kung wala tayo. And hindi naman natin tatangkilikin ang Miss Supranational na pageant kung hindi dahil sa Binibining Pilipinas. So essentially, they owe their prestige and their global presence because of Binibining Pilipinas. Because had it not been na pinasikat ng BPCI at ng Filipino fandom itong pageant na to, I don't think that people all over the world will start to see this as a serious international pageant. Line spread continues. Is there truth that MS went back to BBP and tried to win their hearts to accept them again, but BBP turned them down? Okay, line spread. Ito na yung chichi-cha na portion ng live stream na to, because I have heard that after ALV Pageant Circle dropped their franchise because the Miss Supranational organization allegedly doubled their asking price for the franchise fees at around 4 million. Biglang nag-isip ang ALV na let's just drop this pageant altogether because it's a problematic pageant. And I have heard that they were simultaneously, again, it's rumors, that the super organization was simultaneously negotiating with Binibining Pilipinas and Empire PH for franchise for the Philippines. And then I've also heard rumors that nung lumapit na ang Supra sa Binibining Pilipinas na bumalik for their franchise, ang Binibining Pilipinas allegedly gave them a franchise fee during their negotiations, that their franchise free proposal for Miss Supranational, for supranational, supranational franchise, mas mababa pa doon sa franchise na binabayaran nila nung nandun pa sila sa Binibining Pilipinas. So, it was like a subtle slap on the supranational organization na kayo tong lumayas, um, kayo to yung gustong bumalik, so take it or leave it na mas mababa ang ibibigay naming franchise fee sa inyo. Because I think kayang indahin ng Binibining Pilipinas na tawag ito na with or without these international franchises, matutuloy at matutuloy pa rin ang Binibining Pilipinas, and that they are not reliant on international pageant prestige of their franchises just so that they survive. Because again, Binibining Pilipinas is a Filipino institution from the 1960s. They started in 1964, and imagine yung history nila na up until this point. The only time na hindi nagkaroon ng Binibining Pilipinas edition was because of the pandemic. Bumagyo, bumaha, lumindol, the Binibining Pilipinas pageant always pushes through or gets delayed but never canceled. Ganun na lang yung prestige ng Binibining Pilipinas, that from 1964, the only time that they didn't have an edition on certain years, it's because of one, the pandemic, and in 1994 they didn't have a pageant in 1994 because the 1994 pageant for Binibining Pilipinas was moved at October of 1993 to make way for the Miss Universe pageant happening in the Philippines. And that's the only time that's the only other time na hindi nagkaroon ng annual edition ang Binibining Pilipinas on the year itself. That's because minove nila. So essentially, in 1993, you have two Binibining Pilipinas pageants happening on the same year. And the only time na nag-postpone ng pageant ang ang Binibining Pilipinas was because of the pandemic in 2020. So, in terms of yung longevity ng pageant, you cannot question that because, again, kung the Araneta's kayang ihabla sa korte ang JP Morgan and Chase na bangko for $10 million worth na mga alahas, you can imagine that because of their wealth, kaya nilang ipagpatuloy ang Binibining Pilipinas without even having major sponsors. So ganun na lang yung yung pageant because essentially Binibining Pilipinas can stand on its own. Okay, let's go now to some of comments. Simply Lurker, nung una, ayaw ko sana umalis ang Supra sa Binibining Pilipinas dahil nawala ang MU franchise. Pero dahil sa pagiging problematic ng Supra, okay na rin na nawala sila sa Binibining Pilipinas. Jessica De Maranan says, so Sir Jason, if Supra has still no relevancy, what do you think made Luis say yes to be the Mr. Supra Canada representative? I cannot say for sure kung ano yung reasons behind Luis, but if you're looking at the Mr. Supra versus the Miss Supranational na pageants, there is a certain higher premium that fans can attach to the Mr. Supranational na pageant because they are the only glossy male pageant in existence that is being held annually. Mr. World, even if they're established earlier, doesn't have the same prestige anymore after being postponed for how many years now? When was the last time you can remember a Mr. World being crowned? That was around 2019, 2020, 2021. So you get, I even myself na pageant vlogger, hindi ko na matandaan kung kailan sila huling kumorona. You cannot even consider Manhunt International as the pinaka-prestigious na male pageant in existence nowadays. Simply because during the years of 20, 2005 to 2012, inconsistent din yung kanilang mga editions. And because of that, the pageant's brand equity has eroded. So that's another no. And right now, with Mr. International having issues in terms of ownership between with attorney Manuel Del Dio versus Pradip Pradinot, that's another can of worms na ang hirap na i-unpack in this live stream. I think that deserves its own conversation. And it's so difficult even to tackle that because it's an ongoing process of litigations that's gonna happen in the next, I don't know, several months. So hindi natin malalaman kung nakanino yung talagang ownership nung Mr. International pageant until the courts settle it for us. And that's the thing that I'm waiting. It's so difficult to cover and be involved in a pageant when you're not even sure kung sino yung totoong may-ari. So if you're asking me if what's the motivation of Luis joining the Mr. Supra, that is something that I haven't asked of him yet, but I would gladly ask of him if I have a time later on to sit down and interview him one-on-one. Alexa Villano, ayan, sa Alexa nandito. Hello, Alexa. Humabol ako pero based on the points, they really still have a lot to learn about getting Filipino fans' attention. I agree, Alexa, kasi for the longest time, the Filipino fans really pushed and really gave them, the avenue to be popular, to move up yung prestige level ng pageant by providing them, visibility and voice on social media in different platforms. But I don't think that the investment of the Filipino fans and the Filipino pageant community in this pageant is paid back in full. I don't think that the Miss Supranational, especially the Miss Supranational na pageant, really gave back on the Filipino fans, support for this pageant. Kaya tingin ko ang hirap din na na mahalin itong pageant na to kasi lumalabas talaga na wala silang konsepto ng utang na loob at ng loyalty. So, yun yung mahirap sa pageant na to, na ang hirap mahalin dahil hindi tayo reciprocated in terms of yung what we've done and what we've helped this pageant, in terms of popularity. Oriental Josa Sahara. There's so many minor beauty pageant, but still nothing compares to the big three. Most of them are just merely a bucon without any relevance afterwards. Line spread. I remember sa time ni Jeza, rumarampa pa siya o katatapos pa lang niya rumampa pero mag-a-announce na ng top 5. Meaning wala nang bearing yung gown competition. Yun na nga, parang it's so difficult to justify how are the candidates graded, how the candidates are evaluated kung the competition is going on and then may results kaagad. Saan yung tabulation na nangyari, ano yung criteria of judging. So these are things na it might be okay for other fans kasi nananalo naman sila, but it's not okay in the long run because people will question yung credibility ng pageant. Nasaan tayo? John San Diego, what's the role of Andre Slay in Supra? Is he part of the solution in the organization? Initially, I believe he is the creative director of the pageant. So, I am not sure if he has any hand in terms of managing the pageant. However, in managing the franchise relations of the pageant. However, him being still a part of the, being still a part of the tawag ito, of the Miss Supranational organization, and it seems that the entire Supranational organization is like pandering towards the Indonesian audience, pandering to other Asian na mga audiences. I don't know if he is going to help build the broken na image ng supranational here in the Philippines, or is there anything that he can do, to patch the image, because I think it's quite broken at this point in time. I'm not sure if it is salvageable within the next 2-3 years, but I really don't see any I don't see na may amor ang Filipino fan sa pageant na to, not unless manalo ang Pilipinas. I think that's the only reason siguro na magbabago yung feeling, yung amor ng pageant fans dito sa pageant na to. If hindi tayo kumorona, I think that's the only thing that will really salvage yung natin. And if Supranational is fair, Pinoy yung manalo o hindi, kinakailangan transparent at kinakailangan fair sila sa mga candidates nila. So there. Mark Gonzalez is here. Good evening, Sir Jason. Pa-attendance po. For me, nalunod sa isang basong tubig ang Miss Supra organization. They became aggressive to become a top tier na pageant without earning their stripes first. Kinda yes. Or leaning towards yes. Kasi wala pa silang if you're gonna look back at what has the Miss Supranational organization has accomplished at this point in time, wala kang mapinpoint na very what do you call this, very meaningful na accomplishment. Unlike when you say Miss World, you can automatically say that because of the establishment of the beauty with a purpose na ethos in the 1970s, the organization has been able to help charities all over the world because of the HIV/AIDS na support ng Miss Universe sa HIV/AIDS research. Meron silang masasabi na na-accomplish namin ito. You can even say that yung mga yung mga careers ni na Halle Berry started with the Miss USA / Miss Universe na organization during the time where I think it's Harold Glasser pa yung president ng MUO at that time. So yun yung tama yung sinabi mo that they haven't earned their stripes yet. John Lorenzo, what do you think of the male roster of Mr. Supranational Philippines? Who do you see as a crown-worthy? Titignan ko na lang kung sino yung Empire talent among the candidates. For sure, sila na yung mananalo. Hello the Universe. Ang mababaw na basehan ko if major pageant ay kung nag-crown at nagkaroon ng parade sa Ayala or Araneta. Supra, even Globe, hindi nagka-parade. Here's the thing with Binibining Pilipinas, they provide parades for the Miss Universe and Miss International winners. That's why you know na sila yung top titles talaga ng BPCI. Admin Sam, hello po Sir Jason, watching from Saudi. Love the caption and it is so true. Thank you. I think there is truth din kasi that it's their fault kung bakit sira yung reputation nila dito sa Pilipinas. And it's something that that we didn't even have a hand in it. It's just really they shot themselves in the foot. They really did. There's no point in in sugarcoating that. Had it not been that they're not so very greedy with with positions and that with the way that they are being treated, hindi naman aabot sa ganito na ang labas nila parang no permanent address in terms of their national organization. And even with the partnership with Empire na they're gonna piggyback with the Miss Universe Philippines na branding, and then suddenly you have Conan here saying na no piggybacking, we don't want other international competitions being crowned during the Miss Universe Philippines na competition. Suddenly nawalan sila ng leg to stand on. So it goes to show that if you are really comfortable with your brand name, with your brand equity, you would be able to stand alone without having to piggyback on other international organizations competition. Nasa na tayo? John Snow 79. Hi, Jason. Thailand ata ang apple of the eye ng Supra ngayon. Used to be India. I think Supra is just using Indonesia for clout. Syempre, ayaw nilang ma-cancel sila. Saka ayaw nilang magkaroon ng umabot dito sa umabot ng malala yung mga death threats na inaabot nila because of yung sinabi nila about their sinabi ni Andrew Islay about the Indonesian fans, di ba? Do you think same level Supra at MGI aesthetic lang ang meron sila? I think ang Supra ang ganda-ganda in paper pero walang relevance. Kumbaga, it's like a marshmallow na all fluff. Ang ganda tignan, ang sarap, pero walang sustansya. Michael Coldover, sorry, Hello the Universe muna. Binibining Pilipinas is in the league of Eat Bulaga and TV Patrol in terms of Pinoy brand equity. I agree. It's ingrained na sa Filipino psyche yung Binibining Pilipinas brand. Michael Cordoves, Sir Jason, nanonood sa'yo while working. Nakaabot din. Naku, Michael, huwag kang pahuli sa boss mo. Small window na lang, tapos earphones. Jessica Di Maranan, except Poland, what country do you think is possible? What do you think is possible to host? Who can host Mr. and Miss Supra? Ayan. There is a rumor that the reason why Supranational moved to ALV pageant because there was an agreement for ALV to host either the Miss Supra or the Mr. Supranational pageant here in the Philippines. But because hindi siya nagmaterialize in 2 years, nilako di umano ng Supra sa ibang franchise ang Miss Supranational Philippines. So you get that kind of sense na nandun lang sila in terms of sila lang yung gumiginhawa. And kita mo naman kasi kung talagang meron silang loyalty, meron silang palabra de honor, meron silang utang na loob doon sa mga local orgs natin kasi hindi yung 2 taon lang lalayasan mo na kaagad. You have to establish yung pageant mo first before it even gets the kind of branding that you want. Kung gusto if the Miss Supranational organization really wants to build back their broken branding here in the Philippines, the best thing they can do is swallow their pride, go back to the Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated organization, and accept whatever franchise fees. There, we're back. as I was saying, go back to Binibining Pilipinas, swallow their pride, accept how low whatever the franchise fee that BPCI is willing to pay them, and start anew by being the secondary title of Binibining Pilipinas. There's no other way but to go back to that route, because essentially nakilala sila sa Binibining Pilipinas, and the only way for them to get back to that same level is you know get quality candidates from the Philippines through Binibining Pilipinas. Because mind you, once that the Miss Fashion and Beauty Pageant Philippines is established next year, I don't think that they're gonna have a lot of candidates applying for that pageant, because ultimately the ladies will still go to the three biggest national competitions here in the Philippines: Miss Philippines Earth, Binibining Pilipinas, and Miss Universe Philippines. If Miss Universe Philippines is transferred to a different franchise owner, again, remember, there's a bidding war that's gonna happen again by January or February next year, and who knows if the organization who will handle Miss Universe Philippines is no longer Empire next year. So susundan pa rin ng mga pageant girls yung kung nasaan ang MUPH, kung nasaan ang Binibini, kung nasaan ang Miss Philippines Earth. So let's nasaan na ba tayo? Pensador Zamboangueño, Supra struggles to find a foothold in any region. Latin America overhyped MGI to console their losing fit in Miss Universe IMG era. Miss World usually sticks to round robin na winners from any continent, and that is also the reason why Miss Earth is very popular with the European and African countries, because these continents know that they have a shot at winning Miss World. Continue natin yung comment ni Pensador Zamboangueño. While Miss Universe focus on South Africa and the Philippines, so to get a strong support group, they stick to underdog countries. Obvious naman, most Miss Supranational winners are the dormant powerhouse like Puerto Rico, or underdogs like Thailand. Ambience Bliss says, you're right, Sir Jason. I hope na would heed the only solution that can build back their brand is to actually partner back with Binibining Pilipinas, because there's no other way that they can establish the same respect and relevance to Filipino pageant fandom if it's not for Binibining Pilipinas. Jam Amihan, I am not familiar who that person is, so I don't know. But for now, what I know about Michelle D is that she is the organization's alleged favorite. Jay Aquino, walang something worthy to follow sa Super aside for beautiful face winners. One night entertainment and grand production lang sila, walang solid advocacy or anything for fans to invest. Agree. Yun yung problema na pinoint out ko earlier, that in terms of their social causes, hilaw na hilaw pa sila. So you really cannot say that they are the biggest, they're part of the biggest na international competitions, because in terms of what they have accomplished and established since their establishment in 2009 is peanuts compared to Miss Earth or even Miss International. John Lorenzo, what do you think of the roster of Mr. Pilipinas Worldwide? Do you see a potential winner or even higher placement this year in the roster? Can you also name some strong candidates? Honestly, hindi ko pa na-review yung Mr. Pilipinas Worldwide na mga candidates, or even Mr. International Philippines. I'm only familiar with some of the guys. I'm familiar with Nathaniel Tew na candidate ngayon representing Cebu. sa Mr. International. And then one candidate, I can't remember, parang Austin Kaba, Kabatana, because of his height. He's a PMAP model. Um, Tapos sa Mr. Worldwide Pilipinas naman, si John Ernest Tanting lang yung kilala ko dahil crossover siya from Mr. International Philippines last year. So, I haven't seen the full roster yet. I'm also familiar with Johannes Rister kasi nga Empire model siya. And he competed before in Misters of Pilipinas, if I'm not mistaken, several years back. So, I am not sure. Kasi parang, um, marami pa nga akong kinakailangan na i-review in terms of the male pageant na hindi ko masyado binibigyan ng pansin ngayon because it's Miss Universe Philippines and Binibining Pilipinas season. Nasaan na ba tayo? Okay, Jessica De Baranan, LOL at Jam Amihan. Pancho Polo says at Jam Amihan, no one knows who Salome Salve is. Okay, I don't know kung saan darating yung conversation na to, but I do hope that whoever this person is, she's gorgeous because I think Michelle D's beauty is more oriental beautiful rather than Asian or what do you call this? Rather than it's the Filipino prototype of beauty. Okay? Where we Ping says, magandang gabi Sir Jason, we'll watch replay later. Thank you, Ping. The meat and bones actually of the entire live stream has already been discussed in the first hour. We're just conversing na lang in terms of yung mga comments as we go along nowadays at this point in time. Aicha Sia, hello Sir Jason, hello Aicha, bonjour wherever you are in Paris or in France, and I hope that you're enjoying this live stream. I tried as much as possible to have more English language content in this live stream as compared to my previous ones. So I hope you replay the live stream later. Jay Aquino, ano po masasabi nating lahat sa prelim, intro at swimsuit competition ng Miss Grand Thailand? Ha 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 ha. I posted about it. You can see it on my Instagram account. It's the IG Reels with the entry of the Gladiators na soundtrack. So, let's just leave it at that. Pero seriously, continuing from Jay Aquino, pero seriously, magaganda po ang candidates, but honestly, medyo nakakabastos na yung ibang moves and gestures nila. And I think that's the reason why a lot of Filipinos are having some doubts on the taste level of the new owner, the Thai new owner, because that is what we've seen in Miss Grand Thailand is something that is cringy for Filipino fans because we have different tastes and different level of tastes. So that might be something that is cringy, awkward for Filipino fans, but I guess it's normal for Thai fans. And we get to enjoy what we get to enjoy. We cannot dictate that pageants should be like this or like that, but it's up to us to take it based on what's presented to us. Okay. Some comments I think has already been read. Pancho Polo, okay. All of this craziness makes me want to look forward to Miss Charm. They're fresh, positive, and nation-born. I hope they don't get greedy and power-hungry at some point. Sana talaga they end up with BPCI. At this point in time, I just want them to establish first their pageant and be the better alternative for Miss Grand International. Although I see promises with Miss Charm International, I do hope that they get to expand and grow their brand first, before it's acquired or they move to Binibining Pilipinas. Um, where are we? Pancho Polo, ang ganda ng topic. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one feeling queasy about the Miss Supranational all this time. Jon Snow, 79. Hi, Jason ulit. Comment ko lang, Miss Grand Thailand na reel na na-post mo sa Insta, ang lupit. Jon Snow, honestly, I was just, poking fun with the reel. I didn't expect that, people will have quite a reaction to it. Honestly, I didn't think that it's something that would garner a lot of attention from you guys, from pageant fans. And I just wanted to make it, to make light of the cringy pasarelas of some of the candidates. And uh, I do hope that, we take it at face value. It's very campy. Somebody told me that it reminds, it reminds them of RuPaul's Drag Race, the death duel between the last two candidates before they're eliminated. So I don't know if, if it's something that we will be seeing in Miss Grand Philippines, the standalone pageant. But I do hope that even if, even if it's cringy for us, we just enjoy the experience that we see in the pageant. I am not particularly going to be very invested with this pageant, simply because of its reputation. Its reputation actually precedes itself, and it's kind of difficult to support a pageant that's, very difficult, or very. I don't know how to word this, but the way that it selects its winners is kind of questionable, and I don't think that it is really a nice pageant or respectable one at that. So Pageant Mag Philippines. Hello, good evening. Hi, Francois. Kumusta? Thank you for joining our live stream. Will you be in Pangasinan later on? I hope you will. John Lorenzo, who do you think is the best representative of Miss Supra this year among the MUPH candidates? I think I've already mentioned 3 girls that I want for Supra in my previous live stream last Saturday. I've mentioned Emmanuel Vera. I've mentioned Krishna Gravides. I've mentioned Cliza Castro. Thank you very much. Your live are the best. Thank you. Merci. Renee Villarta. This is Renee of Jazz Beauties. If Miss Supra was still with Binibining Pilipinas, do you think amongst the present BBP 2023 candidates would be suitable for Miss Supra? My God, ang hirap mag-drop names kasi baka nanonood sila. Okay, sige, I'll drop names. The first 2 girls that comes into mind is actually Mirhan Hipolito and Angelica Lopez. I don't know. I don't know why sila yung unang pumasok sa isip ko. They're the first girls that actually, came into mind because I've met them. I've conversed with these 2 girls. I think I like Mirhan because of her really very Filipina, Janine Tugonon, Miriam Kiambao, facial features. She's very headstrong and very independent. And I think that would be very much in alignment with the Miss Supranational na brand. And then I also see, Angelica Lopez for her very Filipina features that reminds me of like Desiree Vertadero. Oh my God, I forgot again. Our Miss Universe representative in Miss Universe that was held in Korea. Yung kapatid po ni Ria Locsin, tama ba? Kapatid ni Ria Locsin? No, 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 no. Ah, gosh. Uh, you're gonna kill me for this. She's third runner-up to Maritza Sayalero of Venezuela. Oh, God, give me the name. Chat Silayan. Oh, there. Thank you, John Gale, J. Aquino, Ping Chat Silayan. Yes. Whenever I see, whenever I see Angelica Lopez, I am reminded of these 1970s, 1980s beauties where hindi pa, you know, nahahawakan ng siyensya yung mga muka ng mga candidates natin. And they're really very, these girls, like Chat Silayan, uh, what's his name, Desiree Verdadero, and even Maria Isabel Lopez, have really very gorgeous Filipina faces that I see on Angelica Lopez. And gosh, I cannot say why, but she reminds me of these former Binibining Pilipinas winners with her very statuesque na body and very how to say this, very very strong stage presence that you can't help but to notice them in a lineup. Nasaan na ba tayo? Let's go back to, I think it's line. Tama ba? No, it's Haludi Universe. Sir Jess, any ideas sa theme ng Binibining Pilipinas Finals this year? I support P-pop, nakakamiss ang upbeat opening dance production nila. Okay, here's the thing. They've been keeping it under wraps, anything for their finals, because they don't want another May 13 scenario where May 14 yung planned finals nila and then suddenly biglang nag-announce ang kabilang pageant that they're gonna have their pageant one night before the Binibining Pilipinas finals. So I think they're really just keeping things quiet so that they avoid leakages. But once I hear something, I might put it in a blind item, just for safety. Line spread. I can't imagine Miss Grand Philippines candidates doing the same gestures or moves ng Miss Grand Thailand. Line spread, actually, even when Arquitecto de Mises, which is a Venezuelan pageant page, posted the same video essentially on their page. A lot of the comments there in Spanish was saying that they couldn't imagine Venezuelan queens doing those choreography on stage. Hindi siya nakakaalta sa paningin natin, and I think even the Latinos, don't think that kind of performance on stage levels up or raises up, pageantry. Pageant Mag Philippines. I guess something we should understand is that we all have the same taste. Sabi nga sa Latin, de gustibus non disputandum, meaning we can't argue on taste. This applies to all. Correction, we don't have the same tastes. Ayan. Yay! Okay, so chika-chika tayo, Pageant Mag Philippines. Please follow Pageant Mag Philippines on Instagram. He's a good friend of mine. Nagkaroon kasi ng problema sa kanyang original na IG na parang na-hack or something, and he's starting his Instagram all over again. So if you can spare a like, a support for him, please do so. Ayan. See you friend. Hello the universe. Sir, Chichi is Miss World franchise is going to be with Empire na din. Any info? I don't wanna speculate at this point in time. If in case that lumipat na sa Empire yung Miss World na franchise, then so be it. Let them have yung franchise na yon, because if they are preparing to acquire more franchises, more international franchises, dahil hindi rin ganun ka-safe yung Miss Universe franchise sa kanila because of the bidding war that's happening, because the the yung naririnig natin na nepotismo nung may-ari doon sa mga kaibigan niya, um, then let them do what they need to survive. Yon. My worry lang is, imagine this scenario where you have the Miss Pageant and Miss I don't know, Miss Fashion and Beauty Pageant na competition, and you have their Miss World, Miss Supranational, and Miss Charm, na parang, oh shoot, secondary title na naman ang Supra. Parang, okay, so, hindi na talagang, alam mo yun, talagang sinusundan ng karma ang Supra, na hanggang secondary title lang kayo. So, there. Ping says, Mirhan Hipolito for Supra, if ever. Ping also, says, I agree with Angelica Lopez too. Okay, guys, hindi kaila sa inyo that Binibining Pilipinas this year are being more protective of their girls, and they are they put up more stringent na mga requirements in order for pageant pages to be able to interview their candidates. Fortunately, I am one of those na was able to be granted permission to interview any of the Binibining Pilipinas candidates. And I am able to have interviews on, at this point in time, 3 or 4 Binibining Pilipinas na mga candidates. Mirhan is one of those girls, and I am hoping and I'm working for the possibility to have a one-on-one interview with Angelica in the future, as well as other candidates like Katrina Johnson and Zoe Santiago. So, keeping our fingers crossed na sana matuloy. Makahanap kami ng common na hours where sorry, na pwede akong makipag-meet up sa mga candidates na to for an interview. So, abangan niyo yan. Anyway, going back to Mirhan, special tidbit lang that we got from our interview with her was that her name was supposed to be Mirjana, which is a Serbian name. But her parents, I think it's her dad, who wanted Mirhan instead of the longer Mirjana na name. So if you're going to talk about her in mga live conversation, it's her name is actually Mirhan, not Mirjan, not Miryan, but Mirhan. So it's nice that we get to know more about this kinds of pronunciations and origins of the names of the Binibining Pilipinas candidates. Ayan, Ambience Bliss, Yvette Santiago, Chanel Thomas, and Jezza Huelar are the strongest super reps we had under the Binibining Pilipinas belt. Kinda agree, especially kay Jezza. I think we were paano ko ba sasabihin? How do I say, we were underhanded, or rather, I don't say we were robbed, but I would say we were not given equal opportunity during Jezza's time, and I feel bad because Jezza really gave her all. You can see the fire in her eyes, that nilalaban niya kahit na things are going against her. Ping says Angelica has a sultry look, and she has that charisma and I don't know, sex appeal. She oozes that even without doing so much. She's not very photogenic. That's the only thing that I wanted to to point out with Angelica, because the way that she looks in person, she's actually much more beautiful, much more gorgeous in person as her photos. Maybe it's the angles of the face, or maybe it's the way that she projects, but Angelica looks much better, 100 times better in person. Yes, ayan, nagsilabasan yung uh, mga comments about Chatsalayan. Anyway, hello the universe, says Angelica Lopez reminds me of Asunta De Rossi. Yeah, I agree. And even Mary Ann Umali. I think Mary Ann Umali competed in the wrong pageant. I think she should have been sent at Miss Universe. But cannot cry on over spilled milk. Um, Dang Cecilio is Maritza's batch. Tama ba? Oo nga pala, yes. Dang Cecilio competed in 1979. Maritza, it's not Maritza yung nakalaban ni Chat. It's actually Irene Saez. Tama. Thank you. Oh, no, 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 no. Sean Weatherly. Sean Weatherly. Thank you, John Gill. Ayan. Pancho Polo, you weren't born yet kasi yan tuloy. Yeah, kinda. I was born early 1980s. So, wala pa akong muwang sa pageants nun. Ambience Bliss, apart from our mutya, only Stephanie Stegman, Antonia Porcild, who is now vying for MUT, and Shanique Rabe are supra-worthy queens. And good thing you mentioned Antonia, because Antonia is also, one of the key points that I wanted to discuss. Because Antonia joining MUT allows open a debate on whether or not Miss Supranational is actually its premium as a crown is lowered because a very prominent na Miss Supranational winner is competing for Miss Universe Thailand. I am kinda at the fence in that debate, because on one hand, I kinda agree because there's a lot of crossovers, especially mga crossovers na runners up who do well in Miss Universe. So Catriona Gray, Andrea Mesa, these are just some of these ladies na crossed over from Miss World to Miss Universe and did so well. Let's not forget, Lara Duta, who was Miss Intercontinental in 1997, is Miss Universe in 2000. But I'm kind of on the fence with Antonia, because she is one of the most identifiable Miss Universe, Miss Supranational winners. And it I kind of agree a little bit on the message that Miss Supra is not enough in terms of as a crown. That's why I understand, Supra winners trying to compete at Miss Universe. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Comment comment it na lang on the chat box or on the comment section later after the live stream is done. So where are we? I think Josh Moore. I'm sorry, Filipino din behind what Supra is doing in Philippine pageantry. Ping says, done liking Pageant Mag. Ayan, Pageant Mag Philippines, meron ka ng panibagong supporter. Ishteen, present Sir Jason, late ako. Team replay ka na lang later kasi we did some heavy stuff dun sa initial hour ng live stream na to. Renee Villarta, what do you make of Josh Yugan getting these Pinoy personalities who don't have any experience in pageantry to lead the Miss Universe Bahrain, like Gutierrez and the known movie director? I think he understands that there is no pageant audience in the Middle East, and kung meron man, they're very, very closeted or hidden or invisible. So I kind of agree that they are doing it here in the Philippines with Filipino personalities uh, because we have the audience here. We have the machinery here. We have the structure to really boost pageantry in the Philippines. So I kind of understand. It does make sense because the audience is here. Um, Nasaan na ba tayo? Jessica Dimaranan, what do you think of Gianna Llanes and Kiara Gel Ortega, Sir Jason? It's Kiara Hamlig Gregorio. Okay? Jessica, nagkamali ka kasi ng apelyido. Okay? In terms of winnability ni nung dalawa, I think Gianna is a safe bet for the semis. I think she will be easy. If I'm going to relegate her for an international competition, I think she would be an easy pick for Miss Globe. In terms of Kiara Giel, I think Kiara needs to be more present on social media. Nabanggit ko na ito when I had a conversation with her. I also hope na yung kanyang very calm na stature dalhin niya in the competition. Because I think she could be a potential Binibining Pilipinas International. What do you think? Pageant Mag Philippines, I had one observation during the MUPH press presentation. There's a better light that MUPH is heading towards business empire of the Lee family, Shamsi's in-law family. Nasaan na ba tayo? Jessica Dimaranan, what crowns fits Gianna and Kiara Gel any possibilities? I think there's a strong possibility because you have to understand, Gianna is one of the strongest na mga girls when it comes to communication. What I like about that, that aspect of Gianna's personality is that she has really a wide range of topics that you can talk about with her, which also means that I need pala to finalize my schedule for an interview with Gianna. Because I think among the girls, some of the girls na interview ko during Binibining Pilipinas activities, namumukod tangi sina Gianna, sina Katrina, sina Kiara, for their ability to speak, as well as several other girls na hindi ko muna i-divulge ngayon kasi meron akong listahan na ilalabas on my blog on the best speakers later on, sometime towards next month. So there. Renee Villarta from Jazz Beauties, what do you make, nabasa ko na to, yes, Gianna is only eligible na lang yata for Globe because she's 27. So kung magta-turn siya ng 28 this year, tapos next year pa siya magko-compete, medyo dehado na nga sa age. Ping says, malaking sampal sa Supranational nakasali si Antonia sa MUT. It means the title is not enough. And I've been hearing the same sentiments from pageant fans on both my Instagram account and my Facebook account, that they feel that being Miss Supra or Miss Supranational is not enough for Antonia. Josh Moore, Miss Supra loves taking ex-Miss Universe candidates. The Beauty Critique, hello Jason. Always an intellect, you on Queens, pageantry and personality, loudly voice, nice to listen. Thank you, the Beauty Queen, the Beauty Critique. I hope na you become a regular here in our channel. Hello the Universe. If not Big Four, I'll go for Miss Cosmo World period. Kaching, kaching, kaching. I kinda agree kasi ang laki ng yung cash prize nila. I mean, 100,000 US dollars, milyones na yun. Laking, yeah, laking pera yun. I'm not gonna deny if I'm a pageant girl and I want to be set in life, I'm gonna join Miss Cosmo World. And the beauty of that is that Sir Rogel and Meiji are pretty much on board with the Miss Cosmo World Philippines, and I'm really excited to see what are they going to bring into this competition dahil alam naman natin kapag sinabi mong Sir Rogel, institution na yan sa pageant world. So hindi mo maikakailan na at some point, pageants here and abroad, local, international man yan na pageants, rely on the expertise of Tito Rogel, not just on training girls, but also in the production of their events, their pageants. So, I'm kind of excited. Hello the Universe, kwento ang press presentation ng Binibining Pilipinas. I am not yet sure, diba? Di pa ako nakaka-receive ng ng official na word, but sometime next week. Lemuel 23.5, Sir Jason, during Sir Eugen presscon on MU Bahrain, he said that he now handles 3 pageant licenses, which is Bahrain, Pakistan, and a new acquisition this year. What do you think his country could be? Malamang Middle Eastern country na naman ulit yan. And nauuso nga ngayon, no, yung mga countries, yung mga national directors handling 3 countries. If I'm not mistaken, yung national director ng Miss Universe Australia also acquired the franchises ng Singapore and New Zealand. Nasaan na ba tayo? Josh Moore, but walang nakakapansin kay Joy Dacoron. She's tall, stunning, and very fit. Super morena. I actually posted on Joy on both my Instagram and my Facebook account. She's one of the girls that I also written about in terms of the more accomplished girls in Binibining Pilipinas this year. So do check my blog post on that. Kasi si Joy, aside from being a professional volleyball player, she is also she already took her MBA and is now a PhD student. So in terms of accomplishment, aside from mataas ang napag-aralan ni Joy, matangkad din siya at 5'11", if I'm not mistaken, 5'10", 5'11", one of probably the tallest girl in this competition this year. John Gill, regarding Antonia's crossover, now it makes sense bakit tinanggalan ng MGI ng title si Claire Parker noong 2015 nung mag-crossover siya sa Miss Universe Australia. Ayaw nilang magmukhang low-tier crown ang MGI. And hindi lang siya. Kasi even what's the name of the girl? Kasi Claire Parker ascended to the throne eh. Anya something, who represented Dominican Republic. After she resigned, sumunod si Claire, if I'm not mistaken, na-elevate. Siya yung first runner-up niya, tapos Anya Garcia, ayun. Na-elevate si Claire Parker. Essentially, kasi si Claire Parker, she was the first runner-up. So, ibig sabihin, kada may sasali na queen nila, yung runner-up niya ang mag-a-ascend. Parang, natapos naman na yung mga reigns ng mga queens na to. So, parang it doesn't it doesn't make sense that you dethrone someone for a queen that has already served her term. Where are we? Okay, Pageant Mag Philippines, wala pang announce for BBP presentation, pero parang isama na sa isang event na nakasanayan na hiwalay na event. Again, I've heard parang ano siya, parang sometime next week. Um, J. Aquino, ano nga po nangyari sa MUUAE? Di ko na siya nasundan. Ako din rin alam kung anong nangyari kasi parang ready na yung mga candidates, ready na yung franchise, tapos siguro nagkaroon ng issue with the gobyerno kaya hindi natuloy. And I am not sure kung what happened after that, kung ma-recover pa ba yung franchise na yon or talagang wala na. Agent James 007. Good evening, Sir Jason. Late na kadating. How was the Ever Bilena event and your reaction sa winners of the event? I wasn't able to cover the event because I have a class during that day. But I agree with the winners ng Ever Bilena. Pero I hope sana na mas marami pa silang ibinigay kasi ang dami pang mga magagandang mukha in the competition na I was hoping na na-recognize din. Where are we? Jon Snow, 79. I remember may clause sa Miss International winners cannot join any other pageant. Yes. If I'm not mistaken, yung yung nanalo nung batch nung nanalo ng 2014 yung kinoronahan na Puerto Rican ni Bea Rose hindi yata tumuloy sa MUPR. Tama ba? Yun na nga. Yun ata nangyari dun sa Puerto Rican winner ng Miss International 2014. Hello, the Universe. Sir, MEP finals na tomorrow. Fearless forecast. Yana. Yana yan. Yana na yan. Honestly, among the girls, I think si Yana na yung pinakahinog internationally. So, there's nothing much left that needs to be polished in terms of Yana, except for the fact that she needs to be less gigil. That's it. But she's ready to go. So, Sir Agent James, Sir Jason, bakit parang hindi napapansin si Kiara G.L. Gregorio? I like her pa naman bukod sa title holder na siya from MPE. Napakaganda ng resume niya po. Kinda agree with that. I think in terms of yung social media presence, we really need to drill into Kiara that she needs to start paying attention to her social media because that is where the fans would follow her. You cannot have visibility on social media if you don't post for your fans, and your fans will not follow you if there's nothing new on your feed. So in terms of accomplishments, there's so much accomplishment that Kiara has done over the past several years. But what is particularly interesting about her is not just her resume, but the demeanor that she has when dealing kapag kinakausap mo, because when you talk to her, you get a sense that you're talking to a professional, you're talking with someone who has really great sense and grasp of what she's talking about. And when you talk to her, you get that she's not just intellectually gifted, but she doesn't use her intellectual gifts to intimidate you. And that is something that I was able to grasp during my interview with Kiara. Ayan, na-sploop ko na naman na may na-interview na si Kiara, yung isa sa mga girls na na-interview ko for Binibining Pilipinas. But please do watch out for those kasi unti-unti ko siyang ilalabas this coming May. I think let's finalize na because magdadalawang oras na tayo nag-uusap. Magpa-prepare pa ako for my first out of town na coverage for Limgas na Pangasinan tomorrow. I will be traveling early in the morning going to Pangasinan. Ako ma-heat stroke kasi ang init-init ngayon doon. And I hope na you'll watch our coverage. I will try to do a live stream of the pageant if kayanin siya ng bandwidth ko. But I will make sure na meron tayong content later on with Limgas na Pangasinan. It's one of those regional pageants that I see na, uy, hindi talaga nauubusan ng magaganda ang Pilipinas because there's a lot of girls that I see that can be potential Miss World Philippines, Miss Universe Philippines, Miss Philippines Earth, and Binibining Pilipinas na candidates doon sa roster nila of 25 candidates. Okay, madaliin na natin yung mga questions here. Si Pancho Polo, Diyos ko die, these women, Joy Dacoron, and all those recent lawyers are so empowered. I feel so inferior after learning their mind-boggling credentials. I will be posting more like a summary post on these girls later on. Kasi bukod doon sa mga na-feature ko doon sa accomplished women ng Binibining Pilipinas on my blog, marami pa akong na-unveil na mga candidates that are taking their second degree, that they are taking, taking their, tawag nito, yung mga licensure ng mga exams, kanyan, and basta marami pa kayong aabangan in terms of the accomplishments of this batch. This is a very underrated batch ng Binibining Pilipinas, but if you're actually looking at their resumes, bigatin yung mga resumes nila because we have some candidates who are certified public accountants like Jovel Bea. We have lawyers like like Kiara Gregorio, and there's even one more that is taking law. Law student siya ngayon. And then we have a couple of dentists. I think kilala niyo naman si Tricia Martinez as as a doctor of dentistry. Si Katrina Sese is studying her second degree niya itong yung pagkuha niya ng dentistry this currently. So maraming and of course you also have Jean Isabel Bilasano. The way that you actually pronounce her name is actually the French version. So hindi siya Jean, it's actually Jean Isabel. And I kind of like her name kasi social niya pakinggan, and she's actually a speech pathologist. So abangan niyo yung mga pasabog ko later on these beautiful women who are very much accomplished. Lemuel 23.5, sabi niya, Sir Jason, a pageant fan said NU might be releasing an official list of directors that acquired licenses for 2023 by the month of May. Cause a country director told him recently, well, gawin nila yon, hindi yung mangangako na naman si Punan na i-release niya yung mga interviews ng mga candidates, tapos yung top 16 lang, top 15, top 16 lang yung yung nilabas niyang interview. Nasaan na yung kina Celeste, di ba? Lahat tayo nag-aabang. Alam niyo naman si Punan, di ba? Papampam din kung minsan kasi si Madam, Diyos ko Lord. Ex-senadora din kasi kung minsan. Kaya wala lang. Kung minsan parang may mga pagkakataon na hindi ka na rin maniniwala kung sa mga sinasabi niya. John Gill, hinihintay na lang talaga ni Yana na makornahan siya. Rodvin Fiel, sabi niya, Sir, regarding Yana for MPE, nakikita ko sa kanya ang vibes ni Eva Patalinhog. Kaso sana di niya dala yung parang kakambal na malas ni Eva sa pageant career niya from her Mutias stint to national director. Aloy says, ano po mauna na event? BBP or MIPH MWP? Yung Mr. International Philippines, I think June pa siya, yung kanyang finals. BBP is of course going to happen in the 28th of May. Miss World Philippines, wala pa ako nagirinig na balita sa kanya because before they crown a Miss World Philippines, they have to finish first yung reign ni Carolina Bielowski, and makapag-compete muna si Gwendolyn Ferniol sa Miss World in December. Lemuel 23.5, Yana is definitely ripe for the picking. Okay, nawala. Nan- uh, where were we? Oh God. Where? Nasaan na? Yana is definitely right for the picking at an international pageant, and she's ready. And she's ready. The only girls who could stop her in her tracks are Curry Riley or Xiaori Livori. Correct me kung tama ang name niya. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Shori or Shaori. But tama yung name. I'm not sure kung tama yung pronunciation ko. Rene Villarta. Sabi niya, your thoughts on Ana Valencia, one of the most gorgeous binibini candidates who can't seem to uplift herself above the radars of favorites. Pass na muna ako dyan. Alam niyo naman, may hindi magandang nangyari sa amin last year. John Gill, actually hindi naman siya but yung stylist niya last year na kasi na-feature yan sa Chichi ko, si girl. Tapos yung stylist niya last year, sabi niya sa akin, tinawagan niya ako kalagitnaan ng gabi. Sabi niya sa akin na pag magkita daw kami sa Binibining Pilipinas na finals, masasampal daw niya ako. Sa isip-isip ko, naliliitan siya sa akin. Ang payat-payat niya. Baka naman parang bumangga siya ng pader pag ako yung sinaktan niya, 'di ba? Siyempre, pagtatanggol ko naman ang sarili ko. Kung naliliitan siya sa akin, then good luck sa kanya pag binuldozer ng tabako yung niya, yung katawan niya, 'di ba? That's the advantage of being fat and being big. That's why I own my body. That's why I am happy with the body that I have, because nobody will dare, challenge me in a physical fight because of my size. John Gill says, safe travel, Sir Jason. Stay hydrated. I will. Magdadala ako ng bote para sa tubig. Aisha Sia, did you see Miss South Africa have opened their entries today? I haven't yet. Maybe it happened this afternoon here in the Philippines because we have different time zones. So usually I get really delayed updates on Miss South Africa, like a day after if it's released at evening in the Philippines. I usually read these updates at around morning the day after. Lemon 23.5, speaking of credentials, do you think that this trend will be a heavy factor in choosing the next Miss Universe winner, just like what the selection committee did last January in NOLA? Yes. Big yes. Agent James 007, Sir Jason, parang nanghina si Ana Valencia this year. Parang naangat ang mga other girls from the Aces na mas napapansin kaysa sa kanya. Lalo na si Trisha Martinez na parang siya ang flag bearer ng Aces. Yeah, kinda agree. I think Trisha is the girl to beat among all the Aces girls. And the reason why I think Ana is nanghina sa paningin ng lahat, it's because she lost the glow. But hindi mo rin maiaalis that Ana has the advantage of height, so maybe in the next couple events, dun siya magpapasabog. Because if dun sa reinvent na fashion event that they had at the Farmers Plaza, isa si Ana dun sa mga nag-stand out because of her very statuesque na demeanor on stage. Jessica Demaranan, it's Shaori Livori. Okay. Admin Sam, lol, totoo yan po Sir Jason, di ka panipaniwala si Halu. Peace. Okay, and Jessica Demaranan corrects us that Shaori is pronounced as Sheree Livori. Social, ganda pakinggan. Thank you Jessica for correcting us. Kasi mas social pala siya na bigkasin with the way that you showed us. Um, Renee Villarta, what happened with you with blah blah blah? What were your thoughts on Ana Valencia last year? Nako, wag na nating ungkatin kasi I've moved on. But here's what I can say about that. If you threaten physical harm on me, don't be surprised that I will defend myself. Because if magka-aberya man, every one of us have the right to defend ourselves and have the right to live. And this is the reason why kapag nagkaroon ng mga manslaughter, ng mga homicide, mga murder ng mga issues, ang kadalasan na depensa ng nakapatay self-defense. And lumulusot siya, especially if there is, intention from the other part na makapanakit. So, yun lang. That's the last thing, that I can say about that. Because if you threaten physical violence on me, I have the right to defend myself. And kung naliliitan ka sa akin, wala akong magagawa. Diba? Charot. The beauty critique. I like your taray reaction on body and miss something. Made me laugh. Bravo. Bravissimo. Grazie. Agent James, 007. Sir Jason, yun pa din po ba stylist ni Ana? Kasi lumipat siya ng camp from KF to ACES. Hindi na. Minsan yung mga team ng candidates na nakasira sa kanila. Hope hindi siya maging katulad ng kapalaran ni Karen. I'm easy naman to move on. It's easy for me to move on. Kasi I try not to be invested kapag I already have like negative experience on a certain girl or a certain pageant personality. Kasi minsan ka lang makakaano sa akin eh. Minsan ka lang, pagbibigyan lang kita minsan. Pero kapag umulit ka pa, hindi na mangyayari yun kasi hindi kita bibigyan ng pagkakataon na makaulit sa akin. Naku, Agent James, ayoko na siyang pag-usapan. Bahala siya. Basta ang alam ko, hindi ako nag-great crush. Yun lang. That's it. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover. Marami na tayong napag-usapan in terms of the topics. And I think in terms of, if I'm going to recap what we've discussed with regards to the Miss Supranational pageant, is that it's this. Had it been that they didn't appear like they are ungrateful, that they are very greedy for prestige, for attention, I don't think that they would have this problem that they have now. If they only recognized the Philippine contribution to their pageant, whether it's Binibining Pilipinas, it's pageant community and whatnot, I think that they would have a better, brand equity had it been that they sustained their relationship with Binibining Pilipinas, because essentially their prestige is reliant on their association with Binibining Pilipinas, because after leaving Binibining Pilipinas, it sounds harsh, but it looks like they only had relevance when they were with Binibini, because they didn't essentially got elevated when they moved to ALV Pageant Circle, and with the pronouncement of Kun-An that she doesn't want piggybacking international franchises for her Miss Universe franchises. It only relegated Supra as a pageant that is and will always be secondary to some other international competition. And I think that that could have been alleviated when and if they were still partnering with Binibining Pilipinas, where some people will think that Binibining Pilipinas Supranational is the higher title, more aspirational title as compared to Binibining Pilipinas International. Of course, Miss International will forever will always uh, be given a priority by BPCI because of its history with the Tokyo-based na pageant. However, some people will think that um, that because very specific yung hinahanap ng Miss International, they might have an opportunity or a much better chance as Binibining Pilipinas Supranational. However, that naglaho yun eh. However, that didn't materialize. And I'm hoping that sooner or later, the supranational organization would realize that throughout all of this noise, their best bet to recover, what they lost in terms of prestige, in terms of respect, would still be achievable under the BPCI pageant. So I hope they second guess, what their decisions are in the past several years, because it did not help them at all. So that's it. Thank you very much for everyone for who joined us dito sa ating live stream. We had a very long conversation. We're way beyond 2 hours at this point in time, and I do hope that you'll be with me again next week after something that we're planning. I'm hoping that we still have a live stream at around Saturday next week. So I'm gonna work around my schedule for that, because I have something planned Friday of next week as well. So that's it. Thank you very much for for joining us in this live stream today. So I hope na magkita-kita tayo in our next live stream. And please, if ever na may chance ako na makapag-live stream ng Limagas ng Pangasinan, I hope you support that as well. So, thank you very much. Salamat sa pagmamahal, sa support that you've been given me for the past, past year. Medyo malapit na tayo mag 5,000 followers and subscribers here in YouTube. So I hope na sana mag-grow pa natin yung ating community together. Ayan, thank you very much, and have a great evening and a good, a good and productive weekend to everyone tomorrow. See you in our next live stream. Bye guys, and take care.